The glittering lights of Christmas Eve sparkled through the windows of the Ramsey mansion in Boulder, Colorado. Inside, 6-year-old JonBenéт Ramsey twirled in her new dress, her blue eyes shining with excitement for the holiday ahead. Little did anyone know that in less than 24 hours, this picturesque scene would be shattered, replaced by a nightmare that would haunt America for decades to come. The morning of December 26, 1996, dawned cold and gray. Patsy Ramsey descended the spiral staircase, her mind already racing with plans for the day. But as she reached the bottom step, her eyes fell upon a sheet of paper lying on the hardwood floor. Her heart skipped a beat as she bent to retrieve it. The words scrawled across the page sent ice through her veins. Listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. Patsy's scream echoed through the house, shattering the morning silence. John! Oh my God! They have our baby! John Ramsey burst from the master bedroom, his face a mask of confusion and fear. What's happened? The ransom note, bizarre in its length and detail, demanded $118,000 for the safe return of JonBenéт, the exact amount of John's recent bonus. As police swarmed the house, a pall of suspicion began to settle over the Ramsey family. The note's familiarity with their lives raised immediate red flags. Detective Steve Thomas arrived on the scene, his experienced eyes taking in every detail of the luxurious home-turned-crime scene. Something about the situation didn't sit right with him. The ransom note, written on Patsy's notepad with her pen, seemed staged. As the day wore on, the promised phone call from the kidnappers never came. The tension in the house grew thick, suffocating. Then, in a moment that would forever change the course of the investigation, John Ramsey made a fateful decision. Against police advice, he began searching the house. In the windowless wine cellar, he made a discovery that would haunt him for the rest of his life. There, wrapped in her favorite white blanket, lay the lifeless body of JonBenét, a garrote twisted around her delicate neck. John's anguished cry brought the house to a standstill. In that moment, a kidnapping became a murder, and the case took a dark, twisted turn. As news of JonBenét's death spread, the nation was captivated. How could such a horrific crime occur in the home of a seemingly perfect family? The investigation quickly became a media circus. The image of JonBenét, a pint-sized beauty queen, plastered across every television screen in America. But behind the pageant smiles and glittering tiaras lay a web of secrets that would slowly unravel in the harsh light of scrutiny. Detective Thomas delved deeper into the case, his suspicions growing with each passing day. The evidence simply didn't add up. The ransom note, an unprecedented 3 pages long, contained phrases that eerily echoed Patsy's writing style. And then there was the pineapple. Found in JonBenét's digestive system, it contradicted the Ramseys' account of the night's events. As the investigation progressed, a disturbing picture began to emerge. The perfect family facade began to crack, revealing shadows underneath. Patsy's obsession with JonBenét's pageant career raised eyebrows. Had the pressure to be perfect pushed someone to the breaking point? John's business dealings came under scrutiny. Could there be a connection between his work and the small foreign faction mentioned in the ransom note? And what of Burke, JonBenét's 9-year-old brother? His behavior in the aftermath of the murder struck many as odd, almost detached. As theories swirled, the Ramseys closed ranks. Their cooperation with the police became increasingly guarded, fueling public suspicion. Detective Thomas found himself at odds with his superiors as he pushed to investigate the family more aggressively. But the case was a labyrinth of contradictions. For every piece of evidence pointing towards the family, another seemed to exonerate them. DNA found on JonBenét's clothing didn't match any family members. Yet, how could an intruder have navigated the house so easily? The garrote used to strangle JonBenét was sophisticated, not the work of an enraged parent. But who else could have had such intimate access? As months turned into years, the case grew cold. The Ramseys, hounded by media and suspicion, left Boulder, trying to outrun the shadow of tragedy. But the ghost of JonBenéт Ramsey refused to be laid to rest. The case became a national obsession, spawning countless theories and armchair detectives. In 2006, a breakthrough seemed imminent. John Mark Carr, a schoolteacher living in Thailand, confessed to the murder. Hope flared briefly only to be extinguished. Carr's DNA didn't match the crime scene evidence. His confession was a cruel hoax. The same year brought another blow. Patsy Ramsey succumbed to ovarian cancer, taking whatever secrets she might have held to her grave. As the 20th anniversary of JonBenét's death approached, interest in the case surged once again. New documentaries and books promised fresh insights. Burke Ramsey, now an adult, broke his silence in a series of interviews. His awkward demeanor on camera only fueled more speculation. Some experts pointed to his childhood history of scatological problems as a red flag. Could a disturbed 9-year-old have been capable of such violence? Others maintained the intruder theory, citing the unidentified DNA and the complexity of the crime scene staging. The case continued to evolve, with new DNA testing methods offering hope for answers. But each new development seemed to raise more questions than it answered. In 2019, genealogical DNA testing, the technique that had cracked the Golden State Killer case, was applied to the Ramsey evidence. The results were inconclusive, leaving investigators and the public frustrated once again. As the years passed, the image of JonBenét remained frozen in time. A smiling 6-year-old in a cowgirl outfit, forever young, forever lost. The Ramsey case became more than just an unsolved murder. It was a mirror reflecting America's obsession with true crime, celebrity, and the dark underbelly of the American dream. It raised uncomfortable questions about child beauty pageants, media ethics, and the justice system's treatment of high-profile cases. For Detective Thomas, the case became an all-consuming obsession. He eventually resigned from the force, frustrated by what he saw as political interference in the investigation. He went on to write a book, pointing the finger squarely at Patsy Ramsey. The Ramsey family sued, and the case was settled out of court. John Ramsey, left to navigate the aftermath alone, remarried and tried to rebuild his life. But the shadow of suspicion never fully lifted. Burke Ramsey, thrust into the spotlight as an adult, filed lawsuits against media outlets that implicated him in his sister's death. The Boulder Police Department, stung by criticism of their handling of the case, periodically announced new initiatives to solve the crime. But with each passing year, the trail grew colder. Witnesses died, memories faded, and evidence degraded. Yet the public's fascination with the case never waned. Each anniversary brought a fresh wave of documentaries, podcasts, and articles. The mystery of what happened in the Ramsey home on that Christmas night became a modern American ghost story, passed down and dissected by new generations. In the end, the JonBenét Ramsey case remains a Rorschach test. What one sees in it often says more about the viewer than the evidence. For some, it's a tale of family secrets and hidden guilt. For others, a tragic example of rush to judgment and media persecution. And for a select few, it's a perfect crime. A murder so well executed that it continues to baffle investigators and armchair detectives alike. As the 30th anniversary of JonBenét's death approaches, the question remains, will we ever know the truth? The Ramsey house in Boulder stands empty now, a silent witness to the tragedy that unfolded within its walls. Visitors still drive by hoping to catch a glimpse of what? A clue overlooked? A ghost? Or perhaps just a connection to a mystery that has captivated the nation for a quarter-century. In the end, the true victim of this enduring mystery remains JonBenét herself, a little girl whose life was cut tragically short, and whose death became a national obsession. Her grave in Atlanta bears a simple inscription: "Our love goes with you and our souls wait to join you." As long as her killer remains at large, those words serve as a poignant reminder of a family shattered, a community divided, and a nation haunted by unanswered questions. The case of JonBenét Ramsey stands as a chilling testament to the darkness that can lurk behind the most picture-perfect facades. It reminds us that sometimes the most haunting mysteries are those that hit closest to home, in the very places we should feel safest. As the investigation continues, one can only hope that someday, somehow, justice will be served for JonBené. Until then, her story serves as a tragic reminder of innocence lost and the relentless pursuit of truth in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. The mystery of JonBené Ramsey may never be fully solved, but it will forever remain etched in the annals of American true crime history.